Good morning. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate all of you being here for the live. This, of course, is Traitors US Live. Thank you, everyone that could join me during the live. And those of you that are going to be Team Replay, as always, I appreciate and I thank Team Replay. As always, thank you so much. And this episode of Traitors US did not disappoint. We are at 7. They're just dropping one at a time. So they're dropping one at a time. We're at 7. This is the Black Banquet, y'all. The Black Banquet. This was almost like 2 episodes. So I won't complain too much about there being 1 episode because I was kind of relieved when Peacock dropped from doing the 2 episodes. One time they dropped 3 episodes because that was a lot. So now they're down to 1. So we can really dive into 1 episode and talk about it and what it means, what this meant, what that meant, the different communication between the players. It was really good. So the traders are really starting to live up to their roles as a trader. Lisa, Candace, Rob. So it was really good. It was a really good episode. So this is the Traitors US. We are in season 4, episode 7. I want to make sure everything is playing okay and sounds correct. And if you are in the live and you can, just give me a 1 if everything's going okay. I appreciate that. I'm seeing some breaking news that looks crazy. Y'all, did Don Lemon get arrested? I might have to cut this out. I might have to come back on. These people are too much. If it is what I think it is, y'all, this is crazy. He's a journalist. He's now an independent journalist. So shout out to the First Amendment, which is freedom of speech in the Constitution that I have read and do know about. Low Tempo Life is confirming. This is my traveling friend, my sister, my friend. Good morning. Yes, he did. This is crazy, y'all. This is getting kind of terrifying. And because we have so many people that have been left behind education-wise and don't understand what is going on now, I don't know how to explain this to them. But Don Lemon is an independent journalist. Again, I haven't seen anything about what it is about. I came on here to talk about traders. So when I pulled up just to see if everything was playing okay, went onto my YouTube to see if I have the image of myself just to look at it and make sure everything's everything. I see a little blurb that says Don Lemon arrested. And I'm like, what? So y'all, this is crazy. It's crazy. It's scary. I like to keep it light on this channel. Those of you who have been here a little while, and if you're new, welcome. I do Sandra P's a political discourse where I just talk about various political topics, which has always been my interest. I mean, since we were kids, my sister, my younger sister, myself, we would go door to door, knock on doors, give out informational pamphlets and all that kind of stuff. So I'm probably going to get back into my bag on that. But the lighthearted Bravo topics, Peacock, traders, that sort of thing is what I do for fun and to try to grow my channel. In addition to the travel series, Sandra P is free to move about the cabin. So I'm going to move on for that and just I'll start this now. I'm not sure why this is coming up, but I'm live because I have Low Tempo Life in here who can see me. So I know I'm here because you can see me. In my opinion, they did it for show. Oh, he was on the red carpet at some event show, some award show. Yeah, so now we know what it is. I mean, that when these people elected this reality show, Orange Clown, they had to realize they're making us be a part of the circus, willingly or not. The 92% of us that wanted no parts and still want no parts, unfortunately, we are involved in all this mess. So he doesn't even have to worry about an attorney. I know the best of the best First Amendment attorneys are going to step up. And this is kind of the whole thing, this thing they think they're doing, well, we can do whatever we want. We don't answer to anybody. That's all coming to an end. I can see it. I can see it. If you've read history or know history, anytime an empire or people that were doing something where I can do whatever I want, they reach a point where they go a bridge too far. And we're at the bridge too far. I don't know how much longer it's going to be, but it won't be much longer. I'll tell you that. Don Lemon's an independent journalist. And we know that. CNN fired him. They didn't want him out there anymore. So he's had the reins taken off, and he's more of a thorn in the side of certain people than he was before. So I understand this wholeheartedly. I think it's fine. He was covering that event at the church where people were protesting that a leader in the church worked for ICE. Now, I mean, that is an agency, Department of Homeland Security. They employ ICE. Someone has to have those jobs. But we know that the Orange Clown, when he pardoned a bunch of those criminals from January 6th, who have gone on to commit more crimes, some of them now have legal work, which is with ICE. No background check, none of that. 50,000 bonuses. Welcome in, Soundcheck Annette. Here's my friend Soundcheck Annette. Glad to see you. Grand Rising, everyone in the bushes listening. Thank you. I haven't even started yet, Soundcheck Annette, because when I pulled up my YouTube just to see if I was on. I saw the headline about Don Lemon being arrested, and Low Tempo Life confirmed it. And it speculates that it's for show. I do too. I think it's for show as well. So the review is Traitors US. It's a recap. It's opinion. It's only one episode. They've stopped dropping multiple episodes. So it is the Black Banquet, season 4, episode 7. CC is greeting Soundcheck Annette. This is my moderator that comes in. Thank you so much, CC. I always appreciate when you're here, and I appreciate everyone that comes in during the live. So the Black Banquet is tonight. Everybody's kind of excited, but also scared to death. So they finally get a chance to wear their good clothes, and everybody comes turned out. They are ready. So as the Dorinda's walking in, they're all looking at each other. I like the way they had it kind of like a runway, but really just a big banquet room, and everybody's walking toward the table, and you can see their outfits. Dorinda is saying, everybody looks great. Everybody looks good. Thank you so much, CC. Please subscribe to the channel, like, share the live. That keeps me in the algorithm, y'all. That helps a smaller growing channel such as myself continue to grow, and I do appreciate every subscriber. I really do. So they are walking into this Black Banquet. Dorinda is wearing this huge rose-colored flower on her lapel. I don't think Dorinda is a great dresser. I never cared for Dorinda. Hearing what I'm hearing of her now, as far as the way she mistreated Ron, and production kind of covered for her, because this is the place where personalities go to get rehabbed. Dorinda is having them scrub her. She is a belligerent drunk. She got paused in New York for being a belligerent drunk, has been off the screen for years, but here she is back. And anyway, she's just entering the Black Banquet, so I'm not going to start on her now. But Dorinda, I see you. I see you. Candace is in a confessional saying, this is her little flight attendant confessional. How is Lisa going to pull it off with everybody there? Now, remember, with the murders in plain sight, Red Rum in plain sight, they don't have time to say who they're targeting, who they're going to get. Lisa's wearing the amulet. She is the one that has to make a decision. Rob will not know. Rob has done a full-on turn. He is a traitor that is trading. He is the one that first floated Lisa's name in the castle, to my memory. So he is a trip. Welcome in everybody that comes in during this live, and also welcome to the team replay. Mama Bees is another moderator, speaking to myself and everyone. Thank you. Thank everybody. So Dorinda is saying everybody looks nice. Candace is wondering how Lisa's going to pull it off because she's public enemy number 1. She is, thanks to Rob, her fellow traitor. Now, I don't like when the traitors turn on each other too early. I think it's kind of too early. We're not even halfway through. And Rob is just so thirsty and hungry. Even though I like Rob, I don't feel he had to do this yet. So Eric is looking cute. He's like, are we missing anyone? He is in a suit that is kind of bedazzled, sparkling, mint green. He's a nice looking young man, a bedazzled tux type suit. But I'm mad at Eric too. So Eric and the perfect 99% ears, I can't stand you either. Kristen is gorgeous in a red lace tight look. Kristen's going to look gorgeous no matter what she put on. Kristen is fine in a chef coat. If you're familiar with Kristen from the Top Chef, and she's now the host, started out on the bottom, and now she's here. She was getting sent home in Seattle, and she did the Last Chance Kitchen, and then Bravo was looking at her too, like, we don't want to lose this one. She made it back. She can cook too, so she made it back. And now she has taken over the host role from Padma. So she's a hot property within the Bravo verse and NBC Universal. She's in her lace red color thing. Jim has on an all white suit, and he has a white feather boa thrown over one shoulder. Go ahead, Jim. Jim is one of the survivors. He's one of the gamers. Cece's confirming what I think. Kristen is a star. Yeah, I've seen that. Moira is dressed like a Disney villain. She's in a very thin, metallic-looking dress with one of those hats that are like cocked to the side like this. Moira's really cute. Yeah, Jim was fierce. Jim said, "Let me pull out my good clothes." Jim was cute. Colton looked a fool. Colton had on a regular suit, but Colton is a new gay. I'm not going to tease Colton about that the way he claimed Michael did. He's a new gay. He doesn't really have style. To me, he had on some kind of little headpiece and one pearl earring. Colton, you look a mess. Rob was sleeveless, of course, because Rob's main thing that he wants to show us is the snake tattoos and his guns. Natalie is in something, of course, showing her guns, Dancing with the Stars type thing. Mark was relatively low key. He's Dancing with the Stars. Johnny is always going to turn it out. Johnny is in some kind of suit that has a bunch of different stuff on it. Tara looked pretty. Everybody looked good. Candace looked pretty. She had a beautiful black dress on and an immaculate, elaborate headpiece, a gold headpiece. Colton had a smaller version of that. Colton, when you saw what Candace had on her head, you should have took yours off and just fluffed your hair up a little bit because that was crazy. So Lisa enters last after Eric wants to know, is everybody here? Lisa enters last. I don't know what she had on. I say she was dressed like the little drummer boy, but in a ruffled skirt. Of course, that poisonous amulet is right on her lapel. And she came marching through. She had a sailor hat on too. Lisa is always going to do too much. But, I mean, she wouldn't be a housewife or Lisa freaking Rinna if she didn't. She said, "Excuse me, boys." And they were like, "Clear the way, clear the way." Remember going up the stairs last night to dinner and to get dressed? Johnny is like, "What are you wearing?" So he was so excited. He couldn't wait to see Lisa. I was scared for Johnny. I thought Johnny, because everybody kind of was like, she made a big entrance. She came in last, and I was scared everybody was going to touch her. And I want to know who's going to touch that amulet. So she tells us in a confessional, she honestly had not decided yet who she's going to allow to touch it. That is the kiss of death. If you touch that, that's going to be it. So Johnny's like, "Look at the boots." So thank God. Johnny is a shoe horse and he focused on the boots. "I love a pointy toe." He said, "You might kill something in the corner." Lisa says, "Who knows? I might have to." They don't be listening to Lisa. Lisa would throw 10 hints if she throw one. I would have said, "Why she say that? Kills." She said, "Who knows? I might have to." So everybody is surrounding Lisa, looking over her. And then we see the spread. There are a bunch of meats. There's a huge turkey, what looked like ham, all kind of sides, all kind of desserts. There's a deck of cards out for decoration. Now, Steven and some other people were turning over the cards to look at them. The cards actually had the players of the people that are at this Black Banquet. So that was interesting how they got this decorations, everything together right after the last banishment. So Lisa's saying, "I know how to work a fabulous room. I'm Lisa effing Rinna." Lisa, you going to put that on a t-shirt? So Martha's saying, "I have a feeling something terrible is going to happen." You're right, Maura. That's why you're here. So she's kind of a troublemaker, but Maura tries to lay low. I'm watching Maura because she's got Rob to kind of guide her through. He's closest to her in the game, but her being a faithful and him being a traitor, they can't win together. Same thing with Rob and Colton. They can't win together, and they're thick as thieves, literally thieves. So Colton walks up to Lisa. Production did a good job of not letting us know, like, who is at risk, because it could have been anybody. He says, "You're killing me in that outfit." And I'm like, "Lisa, dude, get him to touch it, something." But Colton's no dummy, so he's in her face, but not. Natalie is right there. Kristen is interrupting everybody. "Let me speak to Lisa." Everybody's kind of paying homage to Lisa. So Lisa has that accessory has drawn everybody in, and people were kind of looking at it and everything. Candace and Rob are kind of watching her from a distance. CC is saying they sure moved on swiftly from banishing faithful Ron, didn't they? And that was kind of a really that was an emotional circle of truth. The round table, first of all, and then when he started saying his goodbyes, and then when he said, you know, I'm faithful in real life and I'm a faithful here. And they all pretended like, oh, terrible Ron. And honey, they ready to have this dinner now. And somebody else can ready to get up out of here. So Lisa is telling us in the confessional, Natalie's really smart. She's one of the gamers. She could be really dangerous. Natalie is smart. Natalie is paranoid. We know she's one survivor. You see the gun. She can't hide her strength, and she don't try. She is number one in most of the challenges. Natalie's bringing up the front. So Natalie is like up there with the athletes and the men. Natalie is, she could be a target. So I understand Lisa maybe going for her. So Jam, Kristen, and Natalie have surrounded Lisa. Production is showing us all three of them are within arm's length of Lisa. So then Lisa's like, oh, this is open. You know how you wear a brooch? This has happened to everyone. And somehow the little sticker thing comes out. You're getting stuck. So that's something that does happen. And she's like, oh, can somebody help me? All three of them rush to help her. We don't know who helps her, but we know that this is the thing that is going to take somebody up out the game. So I liked what production did. So they sit down for dinner. Everybody claimed they're starving. And it is. I heard the round tables are pretty long. As Cece pointed out, they just got finished banishing Ron. So, I mean, they're ready to eat. Somebody says, well, who's going to carve the meat? Stephen being helpful, start carving the meat. He's handing out slices. Stephen, I didn't like your hands on this meat like this. They didn't have a little tinsel or something for you to take it and put it on people's plate. I probably couldn't have eaten it. So somebody wanted very rare. Stephen's cutting turkey, handling it. Rob's opening the wine. So the steak charmer wants some wine. They're finally sitting down to dinner. He does a confessional. He's in this sleeveless, dressy vest. Again, his arms are supposed to be the showcase, not what he's wearing. And then we go back to the table. He's staring intently at Lisa, and she's looking a little bit nervously, but she's looking right back at him. Rob, I think you jumped the gun. The one thing I didn't like about last season is when Boston Rob came in, I think he turned the traitors too quickly, because we already had that tension with Danielle and Caroline, shaky, crazy, twitchy Caroline, who I ended up really liking. And when he targeted Bob the drag queen, because he didn't want Bob drag queen having all that say and all that power in the turret, I think it just made the game into chaos. So I don't know why Rob is moving this quickly, but I guess there's a method to his madness. So Rob's saying, I don't know who Lisa's going to choose, what she's going to do. He's in the sleeveless confessional. But I'm glad I don't know, because I have plausible deniability. When they talk about it and that's what happened, I can honestly say, I don't know what happened. So yeah, he's right about that. That is a good point. So Candace is at the head of the table in her gold Medusa headdress. Candace, I told y'all, they do not be watching everybody. Some of them don't. Now, if one of the older gamers who had already been banished, Rob C., if he were there, he would have caught this. Candace looked right at Lisa and said, you look amazing. Lisa said, you look amazing. Candace said, are you feeling successful in life? Lisa said, I am. So that means, did you do what you came here to do? And Lisa said, yeah, I got it done. I already got somebody. Rob didn't even catch it. He's pretty smart, but he didn't catch that. So Candace says, I love that for you. Everybody just eating and drinking. After claiming, I'm not going to eat or drink or touch anybody. They're eating, drinking, and touching everybody. So this was pretty funny. Stephen says, this reminds me of how much I just love camaraderie. I love everybody. And Eric says, he's got like a fortune cookie mind. Eric says, if you want to go far, go alone. If you want to go fast, go alone. If you want to go far, go with somebody. And they're like, oh. So Eric's cute. I'm still mad at him. Kristen is smiling. And Jam says, whatever happens, you all have a brother in Puerto Rico. I don't know, Jam. Hold that thought. So Kristen says nothing in her life has ever worked out due to luck. They are chosen to be here for a reason. And then they all cheers to each other. So Morris says, "Oh, that was nice. I love everything about that." They're just kind of chit-chatting. There's some crazy knocking on the door, worse than the police, worse than the FBI. It ends up being Alan. Alan comes in another one of his spectacular kilts. It is bedazzled, it is jeweled, it is gold. He's got these two hooded henchmen with him. These guys look scary, y'all. This was kind of terrifying. So they come in. He tells them, "I'm going to tell you the tale of the Black Dinner in Scotland, 1440. King James II threw a dinner. He invited a royal clan, and before dessert was over, they were all dead." So tonight it's just going to be one person. That's bad enough, but who wants to come to one of these black dinners, black banquets? Not me. So he says, "I'm afraid tonight has a little bit of a history repeating itself." So the players are kind of looking around. They're getting a little bit nervous. Alan said, "The traces of death has already cursed one of you." And they're like, they scared. So they don't know. So he says, "Right under your nose, someone has already been red rum." The players are looking at each other. They are shocked. And then he clapped his hands. He said, "But there's hope." There's a twist with Alan. The henchmen bring out a tray. It has these sparkling looking, how if you're somewhere like a cruise or a dinner or something, they bring out like the shining shots. This is what the two antidotes look like. They're in a bottle. There's only two of them. Alan gives a twist. He said, "One of the players have already been cursed. If that person, the cursed player, drinks one of the antidotes, they can be saved." So Lisa's in a confessional says, "I have worked so hard to pull off this red rum without a trace, and now they're going to get an antidote." She said, "Stop with all of these, side games." But, Lisa, this is why we watch. So I'm going to read Cece's comment first before we go on with these two antidotes. Cece says, "Alan is over the top. I love it. I think the Black Dinner is what the Game of Thrones writer used as a basis for the Red Wedding." Yes, I think so too, CC. I have not finished that whole series. It's kind of gory, but I may go back from the beginning and watch it. But I'm familiar with what the Red Wedding is. And I love what they did with this. And I think Alan is the perfect host because he is so over the top. And then he's like, "Antidote," and you just jumping out of your skin. He said something and Rob literally jumped out of his skin. I'm like, Alan is too much. So they get a chance to save a person. The antidote, but the thing is, how do they decide who takes the antidote? Of course, with this group, everybody's paranoid, and the traitors are pretending to be paranoid, which is Lisa, Candace, and Rob. But they didn't really say anything about whether or not they're going to try to take the potion. And then GM, now's the time to start crying. He didn't. They're just kind of looking around. Everybody starts to rack their brain and remember, okay, Stephen was serving, Lisa air kissed. I think Jim did whisper, "Lisa air kissed me." And they started just trying to remember different things. I think Tara had something she remembered. Natalie is always paranoid. She's remembering. Alan's telling them, "Choose well. If you fail to give the antidote to the cursed player, this is their last supper for the players." So at the table, they start going around. Natalie's remembering something at the banquet. Somebody pointed out Stephen showing them the cards. When he flipped the card, Kristen's picture was on the card. So everything was creepy. Candace is thinking out loud, "I got my own plate." Candace, girl, you safe. But Candace plays off a good faithful. "I got my own plate. My drink was already poured." They're trying to come up with something. Lisa said, "Mark and I were talking about sweet potatoes." And Stephen admitted, "I was cutting the food, but I was just being helpful." And then, Tara pointed out, "I don't even eat meat, but Dorinda kept offering me turkey." Dorinda was like, "Well, I'm just a person that likes to serve." But Dorinda, if the lady doesn't eat meat, I don't care if you're a server or not. Why are you trying to give that to her? So now they're all getting suspicious. Tara says, "I think I need the antidote." Now, Tara rarely speaks. And if she thinks she needs the antidote, I probably would have wanted her to be one of the people to have it. Colton's rolling his eyes. Funny how Colton never feels at risk because he was right up against, he thinks Lisa is a traitor. He was right up against her. He didn't fight for the antidote either. Natalie is getting really, I'll say it since they say it about us. Natalie was getting aggressive about the antidote. I think I need it. I need the antidote. And Tara's like, well, I feel like I need it. And somebody said, I think Kristen needs it because her picture was on the card. I think Kristen would have needed it too, just not knowing what we know. They put the camera on Rob. He's eating a boiled egg whole. Popped the whole thing in his mouth. Like Cool Hand Luke. I remember Cool Hand Luke had that egg eating contest. Paul Newman was trying to win something for the whole barracks. And they had him eating all these eggs in his little stomach. They were just patting him on his stomach. So that's Rob trying to be Cool Hand Luke, eating up a whole egg. So they're kind of arguing now because Natalie is being aggressive. They reach a point where they were like pulling the antidotes from each other. And Tara is no slouch. She's an Olympian too. She's like, well, hey, I need it too. And she was pulling. Maura's sitting there in her little hat. If you're going to take it, just effing take it. Maura, who you cussing at? Maura, you don't have anything to do with this. So they're kind of struggling over who's going to get it. Kristen saying, well, my face is on the card. I need it. Other people were advocating for Kristen to take it. And Natalie was just, them arms, honey, those arms are not going to let anybody get it other than her. They sure do, plotting with enough boiled eggs. Yeah, they do. That must be cheap because we asking for salmon. What's all these eggs doing in here every morning? Give some more salmon. Do that. So Johnny wants Tara to get a drink. They want Kristen to get a drink. Natalie is arguing. Natalie, at one point, Natalie, do you see this pecking order? You think you stand up here with these boys? And they weren't really picking her. They wanted Tara and Kristen to get it. And Natalie said flat out, why Kristen over me? I don't know, Natalie. Why Kristen over you? And Kristen said, well, give it to her. She's already stood up. But the funny thing I noticed about it is Natalie had already stood up. She had to physically be aggressive to get hers, where they were willing to give them. Welcome in my moderator, my friend, my sis, Angela A. Hi, Sandra P. Sis, my chat. And Mama B's, he feels safe because Rob and him are in cohorts with each other. Yeah, that's why Colton, because you know Colton, the way he had them ladies carrying him in that chariot during one of the challenges, Colton would have just snatched the antidote and drank it down if he felt like he was really at risk. So that is a good point, Mama B's. So Kristen says, oh my God, she's literally out of her seat. Remember, Natalie, she's doing all of this. She looked like Vera or whatever that person was that Jim Carrey used to play. Jim Carrey would play it. It was a Jim character, and the arms were kind of like Natalie's. And she was a woman as Jim Carrey played her, but she was buff. So Natalie's doing that. Kirsten's like, go ahead and take it then. Natalie's saying, honestly, I wouldn't take it. I wouldn't give it a damn, but I feel like, I either ate or drank or something that I need this antidote. Alan slams on the table. Rob jumped out of his skin. Natalie and Tara are already, they have the antidote. Kristen stay seated. I didn't see who. It might have been Johnny. Somebody actually takes the antidote and gives it to Kristen. Kristen didn't fight. They're saying grand rising to Angela A. Welcome to in. Oh, my sister gave me a super sticker. Thank you so much for the $9.99 super sticker. I appreciate that. Thank you, everyone. Thank you. That was really sweet. So they are fighting over these antidotes. And Tara's holding it. Natalie is holding one. They ended up giving one to Kristen because her face was on the card. Again, Maura piped up. You want to drink it, just effing drink it. I didn't like that. Natalie is one of those people that's always going to say something. Alan's telling them, you will die this very minute if the correct person does not take it. Somebody is like, oh my God. And Jam Jam was funny. He's like, you know how scary he pretends. He said, you don't want to hold my hand, B? He was talking to Steven. Him and Steven were holding hands. Mark and Eric were holding hands. Colton was looking excited. Allegedly, and in my opinion, this man is kind of a psycho. If something's scary or terrible or where you should be fearful, his eyes are this round and he looks really excited. We know it's a game, but Colton, come on now. Somebody's going to not be here after this dinner. He's like, he can't wait, honey. He cannot wait. Alan's going around like the way he chose Traitors. He's stopping at the back of everybody's chair and letting them know that somebody is getting ready to, this is their last supper, as he called it. They've already been cursed to death. Candace had that big old headpiece in her hands. Rob is looking like, Everybody was looking terrified except for Colton, who is low-key excited. So the hooded men are standing there. Alan said, and the cursed player, Jam Jam. Everybody jumped up. Jam Jam was like, he grabbed that white feather boa. And I felt a little sad, y'all. I'm going to miss Jam Jam. Jam Jam would get on my nerves, but I'm going to miss it. It was like, if y'all saw that movie Ghost, when the hellhounds would come and get somebody and they'd be like, ah, and drag them out. That's kind of how the hooded men took Jam Jam, y'all. They pulled Jam Jam up from the chair and just ushered Jam Jam out. That's it. They don't get to see him anymore, y'all. This was sad. While they were pulling him out, Jam Jam said, Lisa kissed me. She kissed me. Lisa kissed me. And everybody was like, oh, Lisa kissed him. He said that Lisa kissed him. Lisa was like, why is he saying me? I didn't kiss him. Lisa, you did air kiss this man. And that's not what killed him, but he must have touched that at some. He fixed her brooch for her. We'll see that later. Cece says, Angela A., thank you for supporting the channel. It is so appreciated. It is. Thank you. I still get a kick out of these super stickers. Thank you so much. And she's one of my moderators as well. Thank you. Lisa's lying. I didn't kiss him. She air kissed him. She did red rum him, but now everybody's looking at Lisa. Stephen saying, why didn't we hear more about that? Remember, they were all talking together about what it could be before the deliberation time was up. And Jam Jam did whisper like, Lisa kissed me, but it was kind of matter of fact. So now Stephen's like, well, why didn't we hear more about that? So Alan, he scolds the group again, when they get it wrong. He said his death could have been prevented, but you failed. And they did. This brings us to the end of the story and the end of the Black Banquet. So y'all, that is it. Anitra J., welcome in. Thank you so much for joining us during the Traitors review. This is the live review. We are in season 4, episode 7. They've just finished the Black Banquet. The hellhounds have just dragged poor, sweet, sweet Jam Jam out. He has had the last supper, y'all. This is it. So Colton is looking at Mark. Everybody is stunned. Lisa's in a confessional saying, what the hell? She said it wasn't the kiss. Jesus, Lisa is a mess. She's a good traitor, though. She said, I decided on Jam Jam. It was a smarter choice because he was a gamer. It's going to be him or Natalie. But now Natalie's the last of her breed. Y'all, if we thought this girl was paranoid before, this is going to be a mess. Low Tempo Life says the banquet was what it was hyped up to be. It was, from the clothes to the food to the kind of anticipation. And then, of course, Alan's outfit, that bedazzled kilt, the hellhounds, the hooded, everything. And then the twist with the antidote. I like that. I think they could have gotten it right if Jam Jam had been more aggressive. Like Steven's like, well, why didn't we hear about this? Because he's like, Lisa kissed me. But he wasn't crying, hooting and hollering and crying like he usually is, or standing up like, I'm taking this antidote, like Natalie. So yeah, it was everything it was cracked up to be. So next, the Traitors enter breakfast. And I say the Traitors, y'all, because these 3 are literally first. Rob, Candace, and Lisa come in the door. This has never happened before. Thank you, production, for giving this to us. Good morning, the Anitra J. And Mama B says, Grand Rising, the Anitra J. Yes, welcome in. Thank you for coming in during the live. Candace is in a confessional. She said last night was insane. Lisa handled her scandal. Okay, handle your scandal. I remember Melody Cherie used to say that. Handle your scandal. So Rob, he knew that Lisa was the one that ended up doing everything. Rob's a little scared of these two now because the housewives have this reputation of always standing for each other. I see it a little bit more, especially this episode, but I guess that is your natural order. You're going to resort to teaming up with like people if you're always under attack. So I get why the housewives feel like we got to be a group. You don't want to be obvious about it, but if you're targeted, then you're going to be a group. So Lisa is saying that it happened when she was helped to fix the amulet. Remember when she said that, it was sticking her? Production shows us Jam Jam come forward and try to help her. So Lisa, you killed this man because he was trying to help you. That's what happens. So Candace is saying, do you want to talk? Because remember, Rob has been targeting Lisa for a couple of episodes. They chopped his head off a little bit. They didn't really get to talk to him. So Rob says, I don't want to take a traitor out, but, I didn't know whether or not he could vote for either Colton or Ron. We know that was his emotions. He pretty much told us he's friends with Ron, he's friends with Colton, and he didn't want to take one of them out. And then Rob lies. I didn't think you'd go home. Candace said, well, you were one vote off. You're right, Candace. Don't let him do that. Lisa says, I did all the work today, just like the women do all the work, and I'm going to need to know, what are you going to do to support? Rob said he going to lay back. Candace says, well, today I'm going to try to diffuse. And Lisa says, I'm going to need help today. And I agree with her. She does need help. Anisha J is speaking back to everyone. So Candace is saying, we got to help Lisa diffuse because Rob is an idiot. She's saying this in a confessional. And then Candace says, put some food on your plate. Because 3 traitors are in the breakfast room first, the first time this happened. And Rob is eyes wide open trying to defend himself against these 2 yakking at him. And it's breakfast. Of course, he would at very least have salmon and some of his boiled eggs. But he's sitting there with an empty plate, trying to defend himself. So Candace has to tell him, put food on his plate. He does, and they're still kind of talking. So there's a knock on the door. Here comes Dorinda, Johnny Weir, Mr. 99%, Magic Ears, Eric, and Mark from Dancing with the Stars of the Flowing Locks. Dorinda goes up to Lisa and says, good morning, how are you? I don't want the poison kiss. Okay, Dorinda. You don't have to keep pointing it out, Dorinda. Soundcheck Annette is speaking to everyone that has entered. Rob is a snake. He just like those charms on his arms, Mama Bees. He is a snake. Actually, if I met someone and they worship snakes and they have tattoos on their arms and they refer to themselves as a snake charmer, I wouldn't trust them. I didn't see him on Love Island. I don't watch that show, but Peacock had the nerve to pull out, they said, all his best moments, because now they're trying to make a thing of him. They have a separate little show of him. I think I'm going to watch it. It looks like it's short because I'm not familiar with him before this, but he is a snake. I feel like he turned on them too soon. I really do. So everybody is eating. They all say what happened last night was a lot. Lisa's saying, remember Natalie took that potion and then she's eating and drinking right now with no problem. Lisa, of course, is trying to turn everybody's attention to Natalie. Natalie is in a confessional. She knows she messed up. She's like, I got a lot of explaining to do today to everybody and kind of repair my reputation. Because remember, she was almost like, she was snapping. She had them guns out and she came up against Tara, who was like, I'd like to drink the potion. Natalie's like, nah, I'm drinking a potion. I feel like she got very aggressive. Low tempo life. Rob is a scary snake. He is because he comes with a smile and you don't know when he's going to turn on you. Welcome in, Mama B. Cece tells Mama B's bullseye. Yeah, he is a snake. So bullseye that he is a snake. Low tempo life said it as well. He's scary snake. Dear Yvette. Hey, Sandra in chat and Moss. Hey, dear Yvette. Thank you for joining us for the Traitors US live. And I said, Eric is so cute, but I don't like the fact that this man is a minion because now, of course, he is in a confession talking about everything is so traumatizing. Now he is he's suspicious of Lisa. Stephen is a little quiet. We're hearing more from him. Also, Mark. They are both kind of looking at Lisa because of Jam Jam's last words. And they were his last words because those henchmen pulled Jam Jam up out of there. Him and his white feather boa. I felt a little sorry for him. It was a little sad. Candace says the kiss wasn't the kiss of death, but it did put Lisa on everybody's radar. And again, her name was already ringing bells in the castle because of Rob, the traitor. So Lisa starts naming everybody that she air kissed. It wasn't the kiss. I air kiss everybody. And Maura was saying, well, yeah, you did kiss. I remember I didn't want you to put your lip combo on me. She might have said that later, but I know Maura brought that up again about the kiss. So Johnny is, they're talking more about it. We get another knock. Stephen came in with Maura, Johnny. Colton came in. He's a poor dresser. He's dressed like death of a salesman in a boxy, ill-fitting white blazer. Come in and sit down, Colton. So, of course, he starts dropping about last night and whispering to people about Lisa. Did you hear what Jam Jam said? You couldn't miss what Jam Jam said. He was screaming as he went out the door. Yeah, Candace is on his butt. I'm glad. Do y'all Colton and Rob are working together? Oh yeah, they are. Dear Yvette, they are blatantly working together. They're not even trying to hide it. They're working together. And I think they feel like, oh, we're the two strongest guys. We're going to get to the end. And they know they both can't win. So they're the type selfish people. Check the demographic. Allegedly, and in my opinion, they want to win at the expense of everybody else. Because again, Traitors, there's only three of them. There was no need for him to turn on them this soon, but he has. He's openly working with Colton. And then Colton, he doesn't care if he gets a faithful out or not. He just wants to be the last faithful standing. And then, of course, he can't win against a both can't win. Like when he lied to Lisa, I think you're a traitor, but I'll bring you to the end. You protect me in the turret. I'll protect you at the round table. But Colton, at some point, you're going to have to turn on her. Because again, you can't win if you're faithful with a traitor and vice versa. So yeah, they are working together. And it is openly working together, David. Absolutely. Hello, Anita J. Staying warm. I hope everyone's staying warm. It's about 30 degrees where I am today. And we're going to get more weather tonight in Charlotte. If the ladies were smart, they would work together to get Colton and Rob banished. Cece, I wish they were. I wish they would do that. All the ladies with the exception of Natalie, because I feel like Natalie is one of those pick-me's that wants to be with the boys, and she's doing that. So everybody is speaking to each other at breakfast. They're talking about different things. Steven is saying Jam Jam was yelling out, and Dorinda's talking about it. Colton is talking about Jam Jam, and he's saying it's kind of weird. You actually gave him a kiss. Lisa's saying, I did not kiss him. Lisa, air kiss, kiss. You did kiss him. Now, you're not going to, of course, say how you red rummed him, but you did do it, okay? So she's trying to say what the air kiss was. She air kissed everybody. She said, Colton, you're a dog with a bone. You're not going to drop it because we know how bold Colton is. Stalkers are like that. They don't even try to hide. Now, he's right about this. But again, he's back on Lisa. She says, I know you're gonna keep dogging me. You're a dog with a bone. He's got this smart look on his face because he knows he got somebody in his sights. Again, I don't think he knows whether or not Lisa is a traitor or not. I don't think he cares. And I'm like, Cece, I wish the ladies would get together and ban those two. Jerry Vet says that was a brilliant move to put Rob's name at the table. Yes, that we're going to get to that when we get to the banishment that is coming at the end of this episode. Candace is thinking with her little head, and I love it. I love what Candace is doing. So, because Candace, they fully believe she's a faithful, and here's how I know that. When Johnny pulls together his group, I think it was last episode or the one before, the Johnny 8, Candace wasn't even in the room, and he was like, well, we need to pull Candace in. So him and Tara fully believe that Candace is a faithful, because he said, we need to pull Candace in. And Maura was the one that said, well, no, she's been Ron all the time. But Maura, you should have minded your business, because they could have at least ran it by Candace, and Candace had a chance to think about it. Another thing, one time, Johnny and his best friend Tara, they're still under the radar. They were in the drawing room together, and Candace was in there. And they said, do you trust us? And she's like, yeah, sure. So they do have Candace down as an actual faithful. I think they hugged and kissed after she left. But she saw them alone. The rest of the group, I don't know why. I know the two of them are best friends just from watching Winter Olympics. I've known of that for years. Y'all, they got a cute commercial for Delta One. Did you see that? They are in the Delta One lounge eating, and an Olympian or somebody comes in, and Johnny's announcing her outfit. Look at her strutting through. So there's people that are able to capitalize and make some money off this. Candace, sorry for the aside, but y'all, that's how we do over here. I give you a little bit of extras. Candace has a full interview with Maury Povich on YouTube. It's worth watching. So Candace she's out there, y'all. Candace is getting ready to blow. I'm proud of her. I almost don't want her back on Potomac. I think she, as far as moving on from being just a Bravo celebrity, Candace can do so much more, and I want that for her. Candace is a Sagittarius. We are clever. My mom and dad, rest in peace to both. Very smart people. Very smart people. Now, my father was more above the radar, and my mom laid a little more low, but they're both very smart. Sagittarius are. So Colton and Lisa are kind of going at each other, which I kind of like because he's no match for Renna. He's not, but he has other people that are helping him, and that honestly, that's the only reason they're able to get Lisa a little bit upset. So Kristen comes in a pinstripe gangster suit. Strut Kristen. Kristen is bad. Tara comes in her little fairy red sweater. I like the way people come in to breakfast separately. They got their clothes on, they're looking good. Natalie got the guns out, but she's wearing a leather jacket over it. So come on in, Natalie. She sits right down. Tara says, "We were all paranoid last night." Natalie says, "Yeah, I really thought I was getting murdered." Natalie, anybody there except for the Traitors could have been getting murdered. So I still don't like Natalie's demeanor. And then Tara says, "Well, all of these people are my friends. They're my heart. I feel badly that I might have taken an antidote that Jam Jam needed. Clearly, that is what happened. Jam Jam needed it. But for me, he didn't fight hard enough for it. He was as much at risk as anyone else. They could have been thinking and said, they're targeting the last two gamers, so automatically give the antidotes to Natalie and Jam Jam. But of course, they weren't thinking that way, and nobody knew what the Traitors were actually going to do. So he's gone. He's gone. So they're all talking that they're really struggling to find a traitor. Bob comes in. Bob is dressed in a ton of different plaids, okay? Red plaid, blue plaid, might have been a yellow plaid, the jacket, and also the pants. I feel the same way that you do, Cece. There's something about Natalie I never liked. She has that pick-me spirit. And I mean, not to get political or anything, but I've seen it in certain people, like a Nikki Haley type, if you know what I mean, where they align with, I'll say it. Natalie's in her mind, she might be an inner white boy. I'm sorry, she might be an inner white boy. So if we go to the people of color thing and all this kind of stuff, I probably would stick with a Kristen more so than even a Natalie, because the way she was acting with that antidote and everything, I still don't like it. And again, Jam Jam could have fought harder, but I think that Natalie feels like she's up there with, not up there with. Okay, there's a group that thinks they're up there, and maybe physically, at least within the game. Let's say Colton, Rob, they're front of the challenges because they're younger, they're men, there are things that they can do that we see on this challenge. The housewives are just trudging up the hill, and these guys are running up the hill. And Natalie reached the top of the summit first. We'll get to the game. So she feels like she's a Colton or a Rob in her mind. But you see, when they were giving out the antidotes, they want to give one to sweet little Tara. She don't have to fight for one. Give one to Kristen. Kristen stayed seated. Kristen was cool. Like, well, I need one. And somebody gave her one. Okay. So Natalie, you're not what you think you are. And I'm with Cece. I never like her either. Mama Bees, please hit the like button, share the live. Yes, thank you. Thank you so much. You see that in her too, Yvette? Yes, Sandra, she does. She identifies with a certain group. And honey, when they get that wake-up call, Vivek Ramaswamy, he got a wake-up call up here trying to work with the administration. Then he was running for governor of Ohio. Let me get back to Traitors, because I'll get mad talking about Natalie and people that act like that. So here comes Alan picking at him. The antidote you so carelessly gave to the wrong group made Jam Jam toast. He bam Jam Jam's picture on the floor and broke it. So everybody's like, y'all, it's supposed to be sad, but it's a little bit funny. And Alan says, but rest assured, whoever did this is breaking bread with you right now. The camera focuses on Colton. He's smirking up the table at Lisa. Colton, leave Lisa alone. Maura in her little hat looks down the table. She's looking at Lisa now too. Candace says, oh my God. And Alan says, this next task is going to be monumental. Candace said they've all been monumental, and they have. So Stephen and Johnny are talking. They said, are you ready to have this Natalie conversation? You see, Natalie? See, Natalie, you're under you're suspicious. And she feels like she's not. So Johnny's like, yeah, she's the last gamer too. Y'all in there talking about Natalie like a dog. But I'm here for it. I don't care. So Johnny and Steven are going to be watching Natalie. We have another separate room with Natalie is in the group. And it's funny. I like how production, when somebody's being talked about, production will show them just like minding their own business, but they're a topic of conversation in another room. So Johnny says the people he's looking for is Natalie, Colton, and Lisa. Now, Johnny, don't let Johnny Weir fool you with the little headpieces and the lace. Johnny thinks. He really does. Now, he's wrong about Natalie and Colton, but they are suspicious in their actions, even though we know they're faithfuls, only because we know who the traitor is, which is Lisa. But Johnny he's right with the group that he's looking at. So he said he's going to really be watching those three. And Stephen agrees. So the Johnny 8 it's not the Johnny 8 anymore. Ron is gone. They got the Johnny 7. So he's going to pull people in and they're going to try to target Natalie. So I agree with Johnny, what he's doing. Colton's in the kitchen again, holding court. He's taking full credit for what is going on in the house. But he says he actually knows that, because remember, he got Ron, they got it wrong with Ron. But he feels like he can't be as aggressive, but he knows that he can still sway some votes. But he's going to kind of bring up the rear a little bit and let somebody else speak. Good morning, DG. Thank you for coming into the live. This is Traitors US. They already had the Black Banquet. We lost poor Jam in his feather white boa, and they're getting ready to go out to another challenge. So welcome in. Everyone's speaking and DG speaking back. Thank you for joining during the live. Thank you. Click the like button if you have not already, everyone. Thank you. So they're in the kitchen. Dorinda's eating olives or candy or something. They're always snacking on something. I do like that about the castle. They seem to have a lot of food around. So they are saying, who are we looking at? Is Lisa still a thing? Yes, Lisa is still a thing. That's somebody that they are looking at. Natalie and Tara are sitting down in the drawing room, kind of explaining their actions of the night before. Tara says, when you were so into not letting me drink it, in that moment, I 100% started to think that you were a traitor. So she's just telling her straight out. And she said, I feel bad now because Jam was the one who needed it. Again, they had no way of knowing, and he didn't really fight as hard. So Natalie's saying the same thing. She kind of feels bad about the way she came off. Lisa kind of creeps by and looks in, and they were like, well, come in, come in. Lisa said, you having a private conversation? They said, yeah, but come on in, come in. So she came in. We're just talking about yesterday. We wanted to clear up the things that happened last night and the kind of the tussle over the potion and why you were so strong about it. Lisa's like, yeah, why were you so strong about it? Lisa's trying to shift focus to Natalie. And Natalie ends up saying something. She says, well, when we killed the last gamer, when we killed, and Lisa's eyes are like, pop, the same way Ron's eyes did when Portia said, when we killed. Of course, Natalie is misspeaking. She said, I mean, when they killed, and Tara heard it too, when we killed. So she misspoke, and now this is something they'll be able to use as evidence against her, even though we know Natalie is misspeaking. Lisa's smiling, and she's looking at Tara. We get a confessional from Lisa in her leather jacket. She says, oh my God, I gotta use that. Boop. So yeah, Lisa, I wouldn't put it past you to use it. And she's smart to use it. So this is the same verbal gaffe that Portia made that sent her home. So next we see Stephen saying that the scenario would be that a traitor would be fighting for their life to kind of throw off the scent. So people are looking at Natalie and Lisa. And of course, they're right about one of them. So Rob, Maura, Mark, and Stephen are sitting there. Rob, you snake. We call him. He is a snake. He says anytime two people have there's the same story, but they're different versions, one of them is lying. Well, Rob, yeah, we know this to be true. This is true. So Rob says, watch Lisa. And the rest of the group is like, yeah, they're going to start watching Lisa. They head out to the challenge. There's already $121,000 in the prize pot. And they can get another up to, I think, $30,000 today. So they're in those luxury SUVs going toward the challenge. Of course, they start talking while they're in the different vehicles. Certain ones of the vehicles are speaking about Lisa. Other ones are talking about Natalie. So that's the foreshadowing. Those are the two names that are going to go head-to-head at the round table. And remember, Natalie now has this target on her. So Lisa is trying to stoke up more interest in Natalie as a target. Lisa's telling her van, I was in the drawing room with Natalie and Tara, and Lisa said, when we killed. And they were like, what? She said that? And Lisa said, she said it. She said it. Now, she did say it, and we're using this as evidence, but we know what Lisa's doing. Lisa's trying to divert attention from herself. So Steven says, well, are you going for Colton or Natalie? He was asking his group. And Lisa said, I would really love to go for Colton because of everything he has said and done to me. But first, I'd like to go for Natalie. Lisa thinks she can get more votes toward Natalie, which was a smart strategy. So now Alan is out at where they're going to meet, where he described the rules of this challenge in this different color plaid suit all over. He's added, he had the raspberry beret. He's added a feather scarf. Okay, Alan. There's a little dog out there. Is that Lala? Where's Lala, y'all? I don't think that's Lala. So he welcomes the player to the mission. Y'all, this mission it involves running up this huge hill to reach the top of a summit. They have to collect these golden rocks. It's going to be, they're collecting gold. Their pots are at the top of the hill. They're going to stop midway up the hill. They can choose to throw their own rocks or gold at these hanging urns. And when they break one, they can get more gold. It was really confusing, but it was interesting to watch. So they're picking up these again. The housewives are trudging together. We see Dorinda, Lisa, and Candace kind of in a row. And then the boys, Colton and Rob, are running up the hill. Stephen and Mark are in another section. Johnny and Tara. We see Eric with Kristen a lot, and they're all making their own pace. Natalie is gone. Natalie is the first one. So Natalie reaches the top of the hill first. I'll skip through a lot of the game. We get a confessional with Lisa saying we have to be strategic how we even play this game. We're running against former NFL players, Olympians, and we're just housewives. So again, we see Dorinda, Candace, and Lisa kind of just trudging. So they're doing the best they can. They get to the top of the hill. Natalie, and they some of the people, when they were throwing at the target, some of the people decided, I'm not going to waste my gold trying to knock this target down because I can't really throw that good, which was Johnny. A couple of other people decided that. Rob, being a country boy, I used to skip rocks by the lake at my house so I can do this. And of course, he's knocking down urns and getting more gold. Natalie focuses running straight up that hill. She's the first one to the top of the summit, puts her gold. I don't know why you would, well, I do know. You could put gold in your own bucket, or you could help fill somebody else's. The ones who put it in their own had enough to almost fill their own. So that's what happened. Natalie got up there first, fills hers. Other people, as they got up there, Rob had enough. He filled his. Some of the other people were like Kristen. She said, I don't have enough to fill mine. I'm going to decide who's to put it in. She put hers in somebody's. Lisa gets up there and is like, I got a little bit. Who should I put it in? I'm going to put it in Steven's. She puts it in Steven. Here's Colton. Why did Lisa put her gold in Steven? Anything Lisa do, Colton's going to find suspicious. He really does. I hate the missions. I just want round table and turret time. Me too, Cece. Cece's giggling, but I feel the same. I like all the talking, and I like the intellectual and the thinking and the secretive part of the game. Like when they're all around the castle in the little groups talking to each other, and then the finales are, of course, the banishments, and then when the traitors are in the turrets, kind of hashing things out. But yeah, all this running up the hill and throwing this, you see how hard it is to explain. No one saw Rob and Colton talking and working together. Low tempo life. Thank you for bringing that up. Rob is already trying to play slick with Colton. Now, they're peas in a pod, right? They're equally straight. They're running up the hill. Here's Rob. Colton's like, oh, I got you, man. He takes Rob's backpack and carries it for him. Runs up the hill. He's helping Rob. So now Rob's conserving his energy. And Rob, you can run just as fast as Colton. So I found that interesting, just kind of testing his loyalty a little bit. But yeah, low tempo life is right. They are working together openly. And I don't know if people are paying attention, but they are. Now, I don't know. Candace didn't say anything about it yet, but the other players had to see it. So they all get up there to the top of the hill. Colton's in his little cat burglar stalker hat, one of those little black beanies, carrying Rob's bag. And they can't win together, so this is going to be something to see. But I'm with Cece. I'd like the ladies to banish them both if they can, because we know Colton's not going to be murdered with Rob as a traitor. Now, what I'm interested in the past, twist, they have added additional traitors. But the traders have to decide who they want to tag. I don't even know if these two could agree on who to bring in as another trader if they get another trader this season. So that would be a very interesting twist. I'd like to see that. Cece said, if Lisa goes, wouldn't another trader need to be pulled from the group? I was speaking about this like mine's, Cece, like mine's. I can see Rob trying to talk Candace into accepting Colton to work with him. Either way, Candace needs to watch Rob. I could see that too. I would not mind Colton as a trader. He really wants to be one to the point where some of the group already suspects him of being one. So it might, if they brought him in, if he could convince Candace, she does need to watch both of them because they're sneaky, they're snakes. But if Colton came in as a trader, I think it would almost be a grand opening, grand closing because he's in Johnny's sights already. The Johnny 7 would automatically have Colton in their sights. Even right now, they got Lisa and Natalie. But Colton is still one of the names that the Johnny 7 wants. So they're at the top of the summit. And let's see. Something about a dagger. The dagger's going to give them 2 votes. That's part of the game. When they got to the part of the summit, Natalie got up there first. Mora got up there. Now, funny enough, Mora and Rob, he had been throwing Mora over his shoulder and just running up to finish the challenges. Her and her little hat, honey, she had to get up there herself this time. He had Colton carrying his bag. So we see kind of the shifting of different alliances as these men get to the end. And do y'all remember the season where the faithfuls, MJ, CT, and Trishelle, all knew they were faithfuls at the end? And see, MJ's like, oh yeah, we can get this money. And the two of them acting like, we don't know if everybody's still a faithful. And when you do that, somebody gets banished right at the end, and they snaked MJ out of her money. I could see something like that happening this season because Rob clearly does not want to share the money. Neither does Colton. So I think everybody needs to watch the two of them. So they're up there at the top of the hill. They have made $17,800 toward this challenge, y'all. That was a lot. The chest with the most gold ended up being Rob's, even though Natalie reached the top of the summit first. So we get a confession from Candace. It's saying, I hope Rob gets the dagger because he is still a traitor. That will be keeping it away from a faithful. But even if he gets the dagger, can I trust him? So Cece's asking the question as well. Can Candace trust him? And we're all agreeing, no, Candace cannot trust him. So I don't know if she paid attention to Colton and him jogging up there together and Colton carrying his bag, but we'll see. So they named the top 6 who got to the top of the summit, and they're going to take part in another game. It ended up being, I wrote it down, but now I can't find it. Let's see. Natalie was one of the ones because she was the first one up there. Rob was one of the ones, and Colton, because they both came together. Steven, that's number 4. Eric with the 99% ears. And there may be one other person I can't remember. But there's something about a tablet, and you have to guess if there is a dagger written on your tablet. So they're hiding it. And then Rob, having the most gold, he said he's a human lie detector. He simply asked a couple of questions. His strategy was kind of smart. Ask a question that he knows the answer to and look at their reaction, and then ask a question that's going to be a lie and then compare the 2 reactions. So he starts first with Eric. What's your name, Eric? Do you have a dagger? No. I couldn't really tell. So he goes through with this strategy. He's memorizing kind of like what their reaction is. Where you from, Eric? Atlanta. So I don't know. You couldn't really tell what was going on. Colton, being a psychopath, allegedly, in my opinion, his bug eyes stay the same. My name's Colton. No. But he's working with Rob anyway, so it doesn't really matter. Mark, do you have a dagger? No. What's your favorite color? Green. What's your favorite game? The Mario Brothers. Kind of went on like a little bit. Steven saying no, he didn't have a dagger. Steven's an actor, so you can't really trust what he says or not. I don't know. But again, Lisa Rinna says she's an actor, and I can read all over Lisa when she's lying. So Natalie's a bad liar, y'all. She's smiling. What's your favorite color? Black. Do you have the dagger? No. And then she's like, no. So Natalie had a lot of tells and her eyes were shifting back and forth. So Rob ends up saying, Alan says, whose tablet are you going to take? He said, I'll take Natalie's tablet. Natalie said, someone lied to me. Rob said, somebody lied to me. He ended up taking Natalie's tablet. Natalie had the dagger, which I knew she was lying. So Natalie had the dagger. And Natalie said, I lost my dagger to Rob, but he's one of the closest people to me in the game. See, I told y'all about Natalie. Natalie thinks she's over here with these white boys. So he's one of the closest people to her in the game, in the castle to her right now. That's what she said. So Rob is actually going for Lisa. Rob said he has a good feeling about him having the dagger because if they ever come for him, he's going to have 2 votes. So that's what the dagger does. They don't have to use it at this banishment roundtable. He can use it in the future if he needs it. So they get back to the castle. The lunch looks great. All kind of salads, meats. You know how they do. They lay out a spread. Candace is saying that Johnny is on Lisa tough. She let Lisa know. So I do appreciate the 2 traitors, the women traitors still working together. Rob, you are a snake. So Tara is not on Johnny's side about that, even though they're a team. I look at them as 2 votes. But Tara doesn't really see Lisa as a threat. She still can't get over Natalie and how Natalie conducted herself. So Candace is saying, I couldn't be like too outward with it, but what I did was kind of sided with Tara that we're looking at Natalie, where Johnny is on Lisa tough. So at the table, Mara, Johnny, Tara, and Lisa, they're all eating. Lisa reminds Tara, do you remember when we were in the library and Natalie said, when I red rummed, and Tara was like, I do remember that. So Rob is in the drawing room with his other group and he's saying, y'all, we're going to keep the dagger a secret. Don't tell him who we got it. Don't tell him who got it. So they get back to the castle. Stephen walks right in the kitchen and they were like, spill it. Tell us everything that happened. Stephen says, well, there was another part to the competition, but we decided to keep a pact. Stephen, a pact, you don't tell everybody what's going on. But he's like, we decided to keep a pact because we don't want to put a target on the person who actually has the dagger. So the Johnny 8 is looking like, and forget this pact. So they're trying to figure it out. Candace is hoping Rob got it, but honestly, Candace, at this point, it's not going to do you any good. So we get a confessional with Rob. He says, I see Candace cooking up a storm. Yeah, Rob, just like you. These people are diabolical. They can plot against you all day long, twice on a Sunday, in front of your face. And the second you defend yourself and you start plotting back, they get offended. So Rob's in a confessional like, yeah, Candace doing all this cooking. If Lisa stays, I'm going to be busted again by these 2 scary housewives. Now, he's already linked up with the most diabolical faithful we've ever seen, which is Colton. And he expects Candace to still be true to him as a traitor. So this is the thing that I love and hate about this game. It is so much like real life. It's really crazy. It really is. Okay, we already, Cece already said that. I read that already. Projection. Thank you. He knows that he feels like, oh, Candace doesn't trust me. No, you don't trust her. Or maybe you did trust her and you feel like you could just run over her and she's not allowing you. So I agree. Projection. So Lisa's saying, I'm kind of terrified to go up against Natalie. The survivor people scare me. But if I can survive 8 years on Housewives, I'm Lisa effing Rinna. Pop your collar, Lisa. I don't know. She said, I'll fight to the end. So Natalie is in her leather jacket. Lisa is in her leather jacket. And one of them is going to be banished tonight. Going to be banished. So Rob has already turned on his fellow traitor. And he is outwardly campaigning against Lisa now, which I don't like. I still think it's too early. Candace is telling us, I try my best to keep Lisa out of the hot seat, but I'm hoping she can save herself. Because we know Lisa gets a little shaky at that round table. Like, I'm a faithful. I'm a faithful. And she's not all that convincing. So Alan, we're at the round table. Alan introduces the round table. Who will stand by you? Who will you kill for? One of you have the dagger. The floor is yours. So Lisa starts off. Natalie, you said something I can't let go of. Tara and I, she brings in Tara because Tara was there and Tara is trusted. The little blonde lady who's an Olympian, she is trusted. So I can't let that go. Tara, you were in there and you said when we murdered. And Natalie is saying, well, I misspoke. I didn't mean when we murdered. I meant when the person was murdered. So Natalie is kind of stating her case. Natalie was very calm in stating her case. Lisa seemed to be a little more like animated and kind of up in arms about it. So she did say it. But some of the people are not finding it as good evidence. She lied at first. I didn't say that. And then she says, well, I can't prove I didn't say it, but if I did say it, I didn't say it with that intention. So Johnny is saying at the dinner, at the Black Banquet, you fought so hard for the antidote, that kind of put you on my radar. So Johnny is saying why he was looking at her. She says, I'm a faithful. Stephen's name came up. You were the one carving turkey. And he was like, I'm a faithful. So GM is brought up. And Colton says, why would Jam with his dying breath? Colton is so freaking dramatic. Why would Jam with his dying breath accuse you, Lisa? Here's Lisa. I don't know. I don't know why Jam would accuse me. I don't know. And Colton says, well, we know that we could 100% trust him with his dying breath. And that's true. In the court of law, they say a dying declaration. They don't have to swear in the Bible because they're not there to swear in the Bible. It's just, that's your dying words. It's supposed to be true. So Candace is saying, don't write him off as somebody that didn't have any indiscretions just because he's no longer here. So Candace is like, don't give me that, don't speak ill of the dead. She said, you remember him fake crying? Because, you know, Jam did have a little bit of hustler to him when he wanted something. So Lisa's saying, I don't know why he would say that other than the heat was already on me. Maura's saying, I was there. You greeted Jam with a kiss. Now, here you go, Maura. Lisa's like, it was an air kiss. The distinction doesn't really matter. I mean, Lisa did greet Jam, even though we know that's not what took him out of here. So everybody started saying, well, she definitely air kissed me. She air kissed me. Everybody's weighing in. Lisa air kissed them. Dorinda points out about Maura, and it was a good point. She says, you are always jumping on bandwagons. She said, you have nothing to say. You're totally quiet until somebody's name gets brought up, and then you start weighing in and piling on. And Maura's like, are you finished? And Dorinda said, no, I'm not finished. Dorinda finished. She started continuing to make her point. So Dorinda was acting like she was with the New York Housewives. She wasn't playing. Dorinda, I was with you on that because Maura does do that. Maura is any way the wind blows. She's not particularly great at challenges. She's not the deepest thinker, but she is always kind of on whatever side the majority of people are voting for. And I don't like that. I see her as a floater. And I think that's a lazy way to play the game. You don't have to be Colton out here wild and loud and proud, but I don't care for the floaters either. Cece says that was the smartest Dorinda has been in the game. Thank you, Cece. I feel like Dorinda was floating as well. Up until now, I really do. Dear Yvette says another Sagittarius. Who, Dorinda? Dorinda's a trip. So she's one of the ones, she lays low, but she's watching everything because she clocked the stuffing out of Maura. I'm like, Maura does play like that. She really does. So Maura is kind of, taken aback that she's been called out at the round table. Please remember to like and share the live. Yes, thank you so much. Yeah, Maura, she is. Okay, yes, Dorinda, Sagittarius. Yes, she is. So Dorinda, she might have been laying low and happy to be at breakfast every morning, but she sure enough clocked Maura. Maura is now offended. And that's another thing about certain people. They can accuse everybody else, but the second you let that finger swing to them and point that finger like Stacy from Potomac, then they're hollering, don't point at me. Yeah, I'm pointing at you. You've been pointing at me. So Rob says, we're just faithfuls. Rob, you got a lot of nerve. He said, we are awarded nothing. The only guarantee we have is we just have our guesses. He's saying some kind of Alabama country boy nonsense. He says, I can't look with a straight face, knowing what Jam said and not take what he said. The last thing he said, as evidence. Candace is rolling her eyes. She'd cock her head looking at Rob. I know she wanted to pinch Rob if she were next to him. Rob said, He's the only person in the game that spoke to me as a faithful. Rob, Ron spoke to you as a faithful. That was last night. This boy is a trip. He landed on thick. Lisa said, I kissed him. I air kissed everybody. I air kissed you. So Lisa's back on this. Steven is looking like he kind of agrees. Alan's circling the table. You know, Alan gets tired of all these round the way arguments and he's ready to go. So Lisa's not defending herself very well. Alan ends the deliberations. Okay, everybody, you know, the time for talk is over. The dagger has not been used. So now we know that Rob feels like he has enough votes on Lisa and that he feels like none are coming his way. We'll see. And he doesn't have to use the dagger. He can put that in his pocket for later and have 2 votes. Candace is going to throw another cookie at Rob. She sure enough is. I bet he's going to run upstairs after. Well, he got to meet her in the turret. He can't even go straight to bed after this. It's kind of hard to be a traitor. They are up there. I was watching Sandra on one of the podcasts. Sandra from Survivor that was also on Traitors. She said, we had 16-hour days. So, yeah, the traitors, they are. And she was a faithful. So imagine how long the traitors' days are. So Natalie calmly defended herself. Lisa did not do as well. It's down to the votes. They start with Mark. Marcus is saying he voted for Lisa. He said he was going with like the arguments at the table and he feels like Natalie was stronger. Tara she's still firm in Lisa's corner. So Tara voted for Natalie. She said the kiss theory just was not strong enough. Steven says, we have a lot of stuff to discuss, Natalie, but for tonight, I'm voting Lisa. Lisa votes Natalie. Colton says, I'm voting for an icon. I'm voting for a traitor. Colton, now, don't do too much. You don't know yet. Voting for an icon and a traitor. I'm voting for Lisa. Candace says, I came in wanting to vote Natalie, but listening to them both talk, it's not Lisa or Natalie. I'm going to do, she's so torn, Candace. I'm going to do a throwaway vote. Rob. Wow, Candace. She put Rob's name right on Front Street. There you go, Rob. Here's Rob in a confessional. I can't believe Candace voting for me. Had the nerve to put my name down. Yeah, Rob, you've been calling out your fellow traitor Lisa for weeks. So yes, we put your name down. And I love the way Candace coached it. Is this, it's not Natalie, it's not Lisa. I'm gonna just a throwaway vote, Rob. And she thought, Candace, I love it. I love it. I love it. So, CC, Rob might throw a cookie at Candace. They might throw cookies at each other, but I'm with Candace on this. You don't get to just skate by, accuse everybody else, and then you skate by. Yes. Candace clocked him, what he was doing, and she's like, I'm going to throw my little hat in the ring, throw my little flight attendant's pillbox hat in the ring. She's been playing, but she's playing for keeps now because there's only 2 traitors left. We don't know if they'll add anybody else. They're not going to really be able to agree on who it is. If it's somebody like Colton, he's already aligned with Rob. So Candace has kind of got like her hands tied behind her back. Now, all the faithfuls do believe she's faithful. She got that in her corner. But now Rob's name has been thrown out there, and I love it. So they were doing, Lisa ended up with like 6 votes. She was getting back-to-back votes. Johnny voted Lisa, which Johnny already said. He doesn't have 2 votes, y'all. Tara's got her own mind. She got her own mind. So she made her own decision. She actually voted for, Tara voted for Natalie. So Johnny and Tara are not a block vote. And Natalie ends up voting for Lisa. Maura, of course, ends up voting for Lisa. Alan stands up and said, Lisa! She already received enough votes before everybody voted. He says, she has been banished. So Lisa gets up there. We see a confessional. Lisa saying, GD, I don't want to cry. So for the remaining votes, Rob ends up, he says the same thing Colton said. I voted for an icon. Come on, Alabama Rob. You know a lot of words. You have your SAT words. You don't have to quote this idiot Colton. Voted for an icon, the most glamorous traitor, Lisa. So we get everybody else's vote. Of course, Lisa already had enough votes. She is banished. But Alan lets them finish out the votes. I love what Candace did, putting Rob's name out there. Rob hated it. Y'all, he is upset. Lisa gets in the circle of truth. Alan says, before you leave my castle tonight, are you faithful or traitor? She says, first of all, I have absolutely loved being with all of you. I never thought I could do this. I never thought I could last this long. So we've got Lisa F. and Renna from Days of Our Lives now, y'all. And people are looking sad. Colton is smirking. Rob's looking guilty. She says, I am the most iconic, legendary. They pan to Eric, who is laughing. And Colton is just looking most iconic, legendary traitor. And everybody jumps up, cheering that they've caught a traitor. Eric is literally cheering in the ear. Mr. Magic Ears is cheering. Candace is like, yay. Lisa Rinna turned around on that circle of truth, honey, and she did her runway strut. She did a runway strut off the circle of truth. She did a good job. I'm going to give it up. I'm not a Lisa Rinna fan at all, but this was her role. She is a villain. She is a traitor. And she lasted as long as she could because one of her fellow traitors, Rob, turned against her for his own purposes. But in doing so, now he has alerted Candace that she cannot trust him. So that was really good. That was a good roundtable. I'm like Cece. I love the roundtables in the turret more than all these challenges and this other stuff. And breakfast. Breakfast shows a lot too. Mama B says, Colton knew she was a traitor because Rob told him, Mama B's, they're not supposed to do that. And I have seen all these behind the scenes. They claim, no, the castle is covered in cameras and you can't do this and you can't do that. I agree with you, Mama B's. I feel like the Dan season, the Phaedra season, Phaedra was under the radar like Candace. Every single person thought that Phaedra was a faithful, other than, of course, her fellow traitors. Dan got jealous when he became under suspicion for being too quiet and for not really, and people didn't really like Dan. And before he left, I think he told I forgot who he was on with, one of his Big Brother alum. And that is when Phaedra's name started ringing bells in the castle. And that's when she got voted out. So Mama Bees is right. I don't care what they say. Behind the scenes, they do that. So yeah, Colton, that smirk he had a sureness to him that he's been wrong every other time. But again, if you accuse as much as he does, eventually you'll be right. But Rob could have told him. I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him. Cece says, Mama Bees, you're probably right. We know how certain people do. They sit up here and cheat. We got Rob up here. Rob done put his baseball cap back on. He's kind of mad at Candace. Candace, you got the nerve to put my name down? Yeah, fool, you put Lisa's name down. How's that any different? And it's different because Candace only put Rob's name down after Rob started openly targeting Lisa to his group of faithfuls, knowing that he's not faithful himself. So Rob with the ball cap on said, Lisa said, Rob, damn you, in her confessional. She's crying in the confessional. Eric says, I'm vindicated. Colton's taking all the credit. Oh, that was great. That was great. Everybody's hugging. Natalie goes right over to Candace. She says, Candace, I want to thank you for keeping an open mind, keeping an open heart, and just voting with your heart, not voting for me. So that was a really smart move because Candace could have voted with Lisa in solidarity. But once Candace did the vote counts in her head, it made no sense for her to throw away a vote voting on Lisa. I like the fact that she said Rob. She put Rob on notice with that vote and also put the rest of the roundtable on notice. So everybody's hugging. They have caught a traitor. Candace is already at odds with Rob. So, there's no need to make a continued enemy out of Natalie. So Candace is using her noggin. That was very, very smart. So Lee says in a confessional, she said, the end of the Housewives was very difficult for me, but it's so great for me to be able to be here. And I'm grateful for this entire experience. Morris says, wow, she gives like the chef's kiss sign. Lisa played it. She played it to death. She did the best she could do once she was under suspicion. They were giving signs at the dagger tables, Rob and Colton. They were giving signs to each other. I'm not shocked. That's how them types do, dear Yvette. So Alan is telling them, rejoice. And that creepy voice sings, an icon falls. Y'all, I can barely watch this at night because I'm kind of a scaredy cat and that scares me. I don't know who that is singing that. I hope they bring her to the reunion. Let her sing that. So That's the end of Lisa F. and Renner, at least in the castle, y'all. She's got work to do with NBC Universal. They like her. She played this. Now, Beverly Hills, we don't need you over there, Lisa, being mean to people, but there's different things she can do. So they are celebrating. He says, celebrate banishing a traitor, catching a traitor. Enjoy your time in the sun, but pray you live to see dawn. So remember, y'all, Rob and Candace have to get together in that turret. And if they don't red rum each other, they got to choose somebody else. They no longer trust each other. Both of them have a big brain. I put my money on Candace. I think she's a little bit smarter than Rob, but Rob's craftier. And he has really been massaging his relationships with the faithfuls just as long as Candace has. She hasn't been doing it in a sneaky way. She's just living as a faithful. He said earlier, I'm a faithful in my mind, but he is also, he had been against the traitors longer than we knew. So that's my thing with Rob. And then now David is saying he and Colton were actually giving each other signs at the dagger table. So that is a trip. Colton's ready to take all the credit. So now I prove the housewives actually don't have to always vote for each other. Colton, you are a liar. Didn't he say that the housewives always stick together? Now he's saying they don't always vote for each other just because Candace voted for Rob. Rob said, we did it. We got her. With a straight face. He's a trip. He's like one of them firemen that go around there, a firebug, but nobody knows. They go around setting fires, and then they arrive with the rest of their brothers to put it out. Rob, you are a mess. I wouldn't trust you at all. And then he said in the confessional, Candace, you going to write my name down? Y'all, he said it with a straight face. Why the F would you do that? Oh, my God. Rob is dead serious, y'all. He is dead serious. Like Cece said, it's projection. Why would he do that to Lisa? But he did. So Kristen and Candace are laughing, walking down the hall. Kristen's like, really, Candace? She said, Rob? Kristen found that so funny. So I don't know if she thinks that maybe Rob like couldn't be a traitor, because remember, he's still overall Alabama Rob, and they don't really suspect him. Even when we saw that he had a relationship with Ron and they were playing chess, and he's like, they think I'm a dumb old country boy. Now he has said when he gets comfortable, his accent comes out, because I hadn't heard it at all, and I'm not familiar with him from Love Island. But when he was playing chess with Ron before they banished him, everybody thinks I'm a dumb old country boy. And Ron's like, I don't think that. I don't think that at all. I think you'd make a great traitor. I've seen Ron on numerous interviews, and he said that friendship was real. They were going to hang out like soon. So Ron, he said he didn't know. He didn't know at all that Rob was a traitor, but he knew that Rob was smarter than everybody else did, whereas most people just take things at face value. You hear a Southern accent or see overalls, you're like, oh, this dummy. Let me run over him. But no, that's not what it is. I've lived in the South over 20 years. Some of the smartest people I've ever met. Don't let that accent fool you. They are smart. So Rob's in the kitchen with Natalie and Steven. He's saying he feels tonight was huge for his game. Or maybe that was Colton. I think I got the notes mixed up. Colton is still, of course, bragging on himself. He's telling Natalie, who's one of his bros. Natalie's like a frat bro. She's in there with Steven and him. Tonight was big for his game. He said, I was on fire last. Colton, you were not on fire. Other people had Lisa in their sights. Remember, even Johnny did. The Johnny 7 had Lisa in their sights as well. But of course, Johnny's not as loud about when he's right as Colton is. So now Colton is saying Lisa being a traitor kind of redeemed me in the castle's eyes. No, people don't. It's not that they trust him. He can whip votes. Johnny brought that up earlier. Colton is an athlete. He's good looking, conventionally attractive, if you like that type. He said, and people kind of, not that they trust him, but they are willing to follow him and vote with him. And that's true. So Colton has the nerve. He wants to pull Johnny aside, y'all. Johnny got his own separate group. And here is Colton trying to pull Johnny and the Johnny 7 aside. When Rob was playing chess with Ron, I wanted the light bulb to go off in Ron's head to throw Rob's name out there. But he had more allegiance in his friendship with Rob than to himself. He did. And then he also said he was just ready to go. He did say that he never suspected him, but I think it's because he was ready to go. But just his own, that was almost foreshadowing. He was like, you could be a traitor. You'd be a good one. I know you're smarter than what people think you are. But yeah, you're right, CC. I think he could have really thrown more salt in wounds at that round table. He was fighting for his life, but then again, he was also ready to go. I liked a lot of stuff he was able to put out there. I liked that he cussed Dorinda's tail out. He has said in his interviews, he was like, production is protecting her. Somebody was like, well, she has some undercover biases. He was like, no, they're not undercover. He said she said some terrible things to me, but they made it look like the angry black man cussing her out. I knew that. I knew that before he said it. I've worked with people like that. They want to sit up and question you, and it's more like a, where do you go? What do you do? What's your husband do? Blah, 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 blah. And it's like a job interview question. That's not a conversation. And I don't have to answer your questions. I find it intrusive. And Ron is that type of introvert. And now he's saying he's on the spectrum. It makes sense. So he found Dorinda very intrusive. And I shudder to think what she said to him. Everybody's saying there was a terrible, loud argument that took place between Caroline Stanberry and Dorinda. Dorinda talked terrible to Caroline, and Caroline cussed her out. But production doesn't show us that. Like, y'all know what I think. They're trying to sanitize Dorinda's entrance, sanitize Dorinda's image for a possible return if they do something else with New York or even a girls' trip or give her another show with that old raggedy house. I don't like Dorinda Medley. I don't have to see her back on my TV. And I think she'll float to the end like a Dolores, but I don't need to see her anymore. As far as I'm concerned, her name can start ringing bells and get her out of here even before Rob Colton. I don't like Dorinda. But Cece's right. If the ladies would get together, they still got numbers. They could make a big part of Johnny 7. So Colton goes in the kitchen. Y'all, this man, why he slide up to the table? Did anybody pay attention to Candace? Colton is such a cartoon character villain. I despise him because I know who he is and what he's about, but it's almost funny if it wasn't disgusting. Fool, you just helped get Lisa out. You and a group of people were right, but he feels like now he can say whatever he wants about anybody. What about your buddy, who you know is an actual traitor? I think he does know he and Rob. I mean, I think he knows. I'm sorry. He sidles in. You pay attention to Candace. She moved off of Lisa, and Rob was not even in the game, but now she pulled Rob in. And then Rob was saying, do you think it was a terrible move that the housewives, something Rob said, I'm sorry, I scribbled my notes. But Rob's saying he'd be happy to win this game, but he'd be happy to win this game with her. He's lying. He says in a confessional, I'd be happy to win this game with her. I don't think he does. I think he wants to win alone. So Natalie and Dorinda are going upstairs hand in hand. Bye, y'all, both of y'all. Both of them think they're white boys. They can buy Dorinda and Natalie. They're going upstairs hand in hand. Johnny pulls Candace aside and he says, did you notice how Rob and Colton, how they both moved onto Lisa? So Johnny had Lisa in his sights as well, but he's also watching Colton and he's also watching Rob. He's wrong about Colton, but he's right about Rob. So I do love this about Johnny. Candace starts whispering, yeah, she said they're moving in lockstep. I like how Candace probably been planting this seed all day, but she's letting Johnny think this is his idea. And now she's maneuvering along with him. They've been moving in lockstep all day. She said he even used his speech, which he did. He was like, she's a legend. She's an icon. I noticed Colton had been saying that kind of mockingly of Lisa because Lisa said that about herself. And then Rob ended up saying the same thing. So I think Rob was a little too cute by half. I think he thought he was really doing something. But now he's put Candace on notice that she can't trust him. I don't know. I love seeing them go head to head now. I mean, since he wanted it now. He got it. So Candace gives us her last confessional. She says, I am a Christian woman. Come on, Christian woman. She's dressed like the little flight attendant, little pillbox hat. But also there is a bad bee named Candace. And I'm ready to play this MFing game. Okay, Candace. She said, I have to take the snake down. And he does have these snake charms on each arm. And they're going to go up against each other. So they get to the turret. They both walk in facing each other with the hoods on. Rob pulls the hood off. Candace cocks her head at him. She didn't speak first. He said, good evening. Candace just looked at him, and then we hear a wolf howling. Y'all, 10 out of 10. 10 out of 10 for the episodes for Traitors US. If you're just going to give us one like this, okay? This was amazing, y'all. This was so good. Sorry, I hate Candace's hats. I think they just try to like put a little exclamation point on the outfit. But I'm telling you, it does remind me of like a 1960s flight attendant, like TWA with the little hat. Yeah, she got the little pillbox on, but she took that hood off. He spoke and she cocked her head. So Rob, I think you've wakened a sleeping giant. Candace may be little, but her brain is big. I loved it. I thought it was really good. 10. Mama Bees gives the episode a 10 as well. Y'all, we got 10 out of 10 on the Traitors. Thank you so much for joining Sandra P's Gen Extra for my live Traitors US review, season 4, episode 7. I will see you in the YouTube streets. I'm going to catch a few more lives when some of my favorites do their Traitors reviews. I know Queen Sheba will do one where she's just giving her ideas and throwing out her psychological assessments of it. So that's one of the ones I'll be in, a few more. So I will see you y'all in the YouTube streets. And thank you so much for joining me. And everybody stay warm, be safe. The storm's coming back depending on your area. So goodbye, everybody. Yes, a TWA flight attendant. You remember? As TWA flight attendant, I had my dad's old TWA bag. Oh yes, I'm an airline family as well, CC. And CC says 10. So y'all, we got 3 10s. They got a perfect score. Mama B, CC, and myself. I didn't get to see what Low Tempo. Enjoyed it later. Yes, I'll see you in the YouTube streets, Low Tempo Life. Thank you, everybody. Goodbye.
I don't think that he's good for you. How do you know what's good for me? That's my opinion! Don't you get it? Why can't anybody have an opinion but you? That I don't think that he's good. That I don't.